These right here are two bootleg Bumblebee figures that I bought off of AliExpress. Here's a closer look at both our wonderful figures. Now this one kind of has this weird police aesthetic to it, while this one kind of looks like American cheese. One looks like it'll be your friend and maybe go on your hamburger, while the other one looks like it might oppress you for being a person of color. Oh wait, this is a Chinese police car, not an American one. Well then one of them looks like it'll be the cheese on your hamburger, while the other one looks like it'll oppress you for being a person of color. There we go, that's my political commentary for the video. Keep watching. And from what I've seen, this is pretty much just a carbon copy of the Dark of the Moon Deluxe Bumblebee that came out in 2011. Now I believe the size on that was around 6 inches, and the size on these guys is about 6.5 inches, so these are slightly taller. And since this is a knockoff, it's not going to have any of the Chevy or Autobot logos on there. There were two other color variants of this figure, but they didn't look too different. One was from the last night, and then the other one had more proper yellow colors. These two look vastly different in color, so that's why I decided to get these. And overall, they are the exact same figure, just different color schemes. From what I've seen online, the color scheme of this one is much different than the original. I should have gotten this one instead for more accurate colors. And if I have the time, it may be worth going in and painting. These are definitely a good starting point for some customs. Now, the head sculpts on these do look like they might be different, but that's just because of the paintwork on it. Now, the head sculpt on this one isn't that bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst either. And now, while this has the same head sculpt, it looks a lot worse. Now, this one has some blue light piping, while the other one does not. And the light piping on this is really good. Almost like LEDs. LEDs nuts. This one has no light piping and it has black eyes, giving it that dead eye syndrome.
You know the one I'm talking about.
The paintwork on the face is pretty good. It's got some mechanical details all around the figure. Even on the sides of the arms right here, you got some mechanical bits on the inside of the arms. You have this little gold paint right over here. You have some mechanical bits right here as well. Now, the back of the figure is just the top of the car folded in, and it doesn't look very flat, and in my opinion doesn't look too great. I guess you could say it's not flattering. But the rest of the figure really does look like Bumblebee. These top areas, though, do look kind of weird. There's something off about them. I think they look a little too big and there's too much there. And this paintwork on here isn't yellow. It's a very orangey yellow. And I don't like the color of the gray over here. On here, it's more of a silver, and that looks much better in my opinion. Now, this one here has more of a white color scheme with some blue on it. I'm not the biggest fan of the paint on the head. The little red accents here are really nice, I think. It's got some shiny blues here. You have some police symbolism, whatever here. Now both the figures come with weapons, and for a figure like this is a really big weapon. It has the same action as the original figure. Would be nice if this could lock into place though. Now the detail on this is pretty good, and the colors are much better than the Dark of the Moon version from what I saw online. And it looks pretty good when you open it up too. However, you can see some stress marks around it. They also both come with instructions, unlike the Optimus Superman figure, and it's fairly simple stuff. Not really a whole lot to say there. When I bought these figures, they came in vehicle mode, but the instructions are from robot mode to vehicle mode, so I had to follow the instructions backwards like some sort of rocket scientist. You can put the weapons in each of their hands, but it doesn't really hold in place very well. And if you want, we can compare this to the Studio Series figure. Obviously, this one is much smaller. They both have very different head sculpts. This one's got better detail and paintwork, but it is a much newer figure, and this one's an official figure. But if you want to compare some of the details, here's a look at the chest area, and on the abdomen, you kind of have similar detail right there, as well as the crotch piece. And the arms have the same design over there. The legs do look different, and obviously the engineering on this one is much better. The back folds in really well here. While over here, it's very loose, and it sticks out. It sticks out like this on the original figure of this also. And the back on both of these is super loose, so it kind of comes down pretty often on both of them. You might see that throughout the rest of the review. Here's a figure that's much more comparable to it. This is the Revenge of the Fallen Human Alliance Bumblebee. Here they are standing next to each other, and obviously the Human Alliance figure looks much better. The Human Alliance figure is also much bigger. It has better paintwork on it as well, and a much better head sculpt in my opinion. Now once again, this is from Revenge of the Fallen, while this is a knockoff from Dark of the Moon. So the sculpting and mold here aren't really the fault of this figure, it's a fault of the original figure. This one right here has gray as well as some silver paint in some areas and a license plate, and the back on this one is much cleaner. This also has a seat for Sam, which I don't have. Closer look at the head sculpt. Obviously this one's missing the Autobot logo, and this one's got the mask on it that you can... This one's got a mask on it that you can... This one has a mask on it that you can... Fuck it. The arms on both look very different. The chest area pretty much the same. The abs and crotch piece have similar areas. These little flaps are at the front here, while on this figure they're out on the side, and you can't really get them into the front like there. The legs look very different. Here the back of the car is at the back, while here the back of the car is at the front. The wheels on this one are on the inside, while here they're on the outside. The feet though look kind of similar. Now a comparison with the Studio Series figure. The back on this one obviously much flatter. This one has these extra pieces for the door. Head sculpt, very different on both of them. The chest area even looks very different. These side pieces are much smaller here and they have a more exposed area right here. The abdomen and crotch look similar. Once again here, these are on the front while here they're on the side. And the molding of the legs is also different. Now these figures, obviously they're not perfect. They do have some nub marks around them. And when you buy bootlegs, your expectations are usually pretty low. So when they're actually decent, you're kind of surprised. These are honestly pretty decent figures. I definitely think with some added paintwork, this figure could look really good. Now let's move on to the articulation of the figure. It can move up and down and its head can spin all the way around. These arms here are on a ball joint, so you can spin them around and oh, okay. Is there a particular reason this happens every video? You can bring the arms up out like that. You got some elbow joints. These hands can move in and out. The doors can move. The arms can spin around right there. You got ball joints on the legs, allowing you to bring them out and then out to the side, and you can bring the legs back. There is rotation at the waist. There's no ab crunch. There's some knee bending right there. The feet can move right here and right here, but you can't pivot them side to side or anything. The articulation on these figures is a bit limited. The right leg on this figure is a bit loose on mine, but the rest of the joints for both the figures stay in place pretty well. We can compare the articulation to the Revenge of the Fallen one, which has a ball joint at the head. I meant to do that. So you can spin it side to side. It can't really look up. The elbows can come out and you can rotate them. You got elbow joints. These hands right here can move in. Waist rotation. No ab crunch here either. Legs can move out to the side. You can bring them back. You got knee bend right there and some foot movement right over there. And you get some toe movement as well. Also, I just noticed these feet are backwards. Now everything is right. Now for the transformation, it's fairly simple. Bring these up right here and fold them in. And we can unfold this back right here. Now bring these pieces out into the side, right over the wheel. And then again, the same on the other side. Now you want to bring both of these hands in. Rotate these over. Bring those together. Now we can straighten this out right here. Bring that down. Bring this out into the back. Bring these in inside. Bring the front pieces in. Bring in the wheels. Close the door. Okay, we're gonna go back a bit. Make sure this is flat before you bring it in, and then you can bring it in. And then this is supposed to go in down there like that. And then, you gotta adjust everything to make sure it snaps into place properly. Okay, there we go. I apologize, things are much harder to do on camera for some reason. Now for the other one, it's exactly the same, and I'm gonna speed up the video. And there, let me adjust this off camera real quick. And there is a vehicle mode on that. Now the transformation on these guys kind of felt like a jumbled mess. It probably just felt that way because I was doing it on camera. Also, if you haven't noticed, these things are flaking all over the place and really making a mess. We'll take a look at this one first. The vehicle mode on here does look pretty nice, honestly. I wasn't really able to get everything to snap in all the way, but that's fine. It's a bootleg, it's whatever. There's no Chevy logo and there's no Autobot logo or anything that says Camaro on here. No license plate on the back, and the back does look kind of bland on this. The top has this little hole right here, and that's for weapon storage. Looks kind of weird, but that's how it was on the original figure as well. It has blue plastic windows right here that lets you see its insides. You know, that kind of looks like a face right there. Also, another thing, if you open the doors, you do have windows you can bring out. Snap in together, please. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't really work. And yeah, I'm really not able to get this one to tab into place properly. Now here's a look at the underside of the figure. Here's its side profile, the front. It really does look kind of bland without the logo there, but the rest of the figure is not too bad. Now here's a look at the other version. This one snaps together much better than the other one. The whole police thing is kind of weird for Bumblebee, in my opinion. And this literally just says policeman. I don't know what I expected. Same writing and symbols on the side here. Back here you got another symbol. The back on this also looks very plain. No license plate as well. This also has these little things right here, which I don't like. This one also has windows, but it really doesn't work for this one either. Perhaps this was meant for just the robot mode, but I like having these down for the robot mode. The underside, nothing too special there. The wheels on both the figures are pretty much the same, and they feel like a cheap plastic. The spoilers on both of them are the same as well, and I like how there's even this for satellite radio. Does anyone even use satellite radio? Comment below. This one has black windows all around it, and this one's also got some scuff marks on it here and here. And overall, for the price I paid for these figures, they're not too bad. Now, if you enjoyed this video right here, make sure to check out this video over here. And a big thank you to all my patrons who support me on Patreon for only $1 a month. Subscribe, bye.